Jacy and Scarlett kicked off Halloween Havoc Night 2, and not only did they arrive as Ghostbusters, but they were driving Ecto 1. I looked off into the distance and I thought to myself, my word, it's actually the greatest moment in professional wrestling history. Also, hello my friends and welcome to NXT Ups and Downs, the show where we review NXT. That's it. I wiggle my finger around and I'm going to tell you there's going to be a lot of ups. And you want to know why? Because it's a positive Pete show, damn it. I'm sick and tired of all the negativity when it comes to sports entertainment, because this stuff is all about taking your excitement gland and plugging it in. What? We weren't messing around either, as our first match, I'm just going to cover my eyes, which is what I did when I was watching this damn thing, was the Tables, Ladders and Scares match. And you really have to focus on that last word. Because it was the Creeds versus Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. And I was like, well, look, Brutus and Julius could lose here, because quite clearly they have been brought up to the main roster. But not only did they win, these four guys tried to kill each other. Because Julius at one point went flying through this ladder bridge, and then Brutus got knocked to the outside, and he went through all of these tables. And later on, he got thrown into this other ladder, and he righted right on his neck or his upper back area. I started to freak out. It's like, what the flub are we doing? We also had a flipping chair lightsaber fight at one point because this thing had everything. And essentially, we would just set up furniture, go to a great height, and then somebody would get thrown through it. It's like, this is happening on free TV. But don't go and say that on the internet. People get really, really mad. Garza also had to go through this because he got totally murked, and eventually we did the Brutus bomb and everybody fell through a table and the Creeds got the 1, 2, 3. Now look, this was super duper good, and my word, you were on the edge of your seat, but it was also totally insane. You have to figure as well that WWE is ready for a mega push when it comes to the Creeds, otherwise they definitely would have taken the L here, but I am going to give it an up, based on nothing but effort alone. I mean, my word, they gave us everything. Alpha Fire and Isla Dawn were then mucking around with the Ouija board alongside Shotzi and Scarlett. So who the hell knows what brand they're on? When Joe Gacy was here. Now, he is going through some changes, and it kind of felt like he was done with all the cult stuff here. That's like, dude, Joe, you choose to move away from the spooky wookie on Halloween? I mean, you couldn't have timed this any worse. When it was time for Tiffany, Stratton versus Fallon Henley, kinda. Now, of course, this got set up after Fallon had dressed up as Tiffany. Quite clearly, Stratton had just stewed on this for 7 days, and she was so damn mad. Before the bell even went ding-ding, she absolutely destroyed this person, and even locked the Bret Hart figure 4 onto Rita the ring post. Referees did try to break this up, but it was too late because Henley didn't have a limb anymore. So either one, we're going to write her off TV, or two, somebody was like, look, we don't have a lot of time on this show, let's just hold this off till next week, so you two can really go at it. I did think this was smart though, because maybe Tiffany does need a little bit more edge. And of course, Adam Copeland left the company. Most of the Creeds though, I would just call Tiffany up tomorrow. I mean, what the flub are we waiting for? She's quite clearly ready. Up. Good angle. The metaphor then went to Tozawa's haunted house in order to reclaim the Heritage Cup. And yes, I said those words. This is why NXT is the absolute best. They also acted like they weren't scared, and then of course screamed as they went around every single corner. And there's more to this later. That's the reason I'm wearing this t-shirt. Goofy Wrestling for Life. Available now on Pro Wrestling Tees. We then got to a very interesting match because it was Dominik Mysterio versus Nathan Frazer for the North American title. And for some reason, deep down in my Tootsie Toes, I was a bit like, well, this is a special show. Maybe Nate is going to win. He didn't. Dom and Rhea Ripley also came out dressed as a convict, or the condom, and a cop. So I was like, oh no, people are going to lose their minds about this. And as soon as the bell went, Frazer went crazy. I mean, he was quite literally moving at 100 miles an hour. Not literally. I mean, Dom was so freaked out, he basically ran away, which kind of caused the distraction. He was able to hit the 2.5 amigos, because when he went for the third one, he accidentally hit the D-pad, he posed, and once again, Nathan Frazer just went totally potty. I mean, I don't know how he moves so fast, and I don't understand how he does all his moves so smoothly. I mean, he just dropped Dommy Boy right on his head, and then nailed him with this springboard. I was like, man, just keep going, I'm having a good time. Which is, of course, when Rhea Ripley decided, you're annoying me, and she cast distraction. I mean, at one point, she even pushed Dominik out of the way, because you don't do that to her, pappy, because she's the mammy. That's when Mysterio was able to hit Nathan with a kick that was super. But even then, Nathan kind of sped through this, and he hit a neck breaker, and he got the 1-2 ooh. And then laughed because Ripley slid the title to use as a weapon to Mysterio, but he's such a goober, he totally missed it. And even though he went for the 619, he wasn't able to get it, because you already know the deal. Nobody ever scores with a 619 on the first attempt, so he turned around, bam, he got hit with a super kick. Frazer definitely had it won at this point, but he made the awful mistake of climbing to the top rope, and by this point, a bunch of stuff has gone down, so Mysterio just ran at him and pushed him right into Alan the announce table when he hit the splash of the frogs, and he got the 1, 2, 3. So he kind of won clean, but he also definitely didn't. It really was a bad night for the condom, though, because then Wesley returned and he kicked the crap out of this guy, and really he should probably win his North American title back. This was just absolutely joyous, and I just loved watching Dominik Mysterio come of age. When he was back to Tozawa's haunted house after this, and the following actually happened. Jakara Jackson collapsed because she was so scared, Aura Mensa was kidnapped, and Last Legend basically got eaten by zombies. That also left us with the big question that we have asked before here on Ups and Downs. Are we meant to think these are real zombies, or are they just people dressed up as zombies? WWE has never made this canon, and I, for one, would like it explained. When we got a squash and an angle, I suppose, it was always going to happen. Because it was Robert Stone versus Brunbreaker, and while a few people were like, oh man, I bet Robert gets some stuff in here, no, he didn't. He got absolutely crushed, totally ruined with a spear, 1, 2, 3. It lasted about a minute. But I've had hard moments trying to get out of bed in the morning, and obviously after this, Brunbreaker was like, ha ha ha, remember what I did to Von Wagner? I'm going to do the same thing to you. And he picked up the Simba the Steel steps, which is when Von Wagner's music played, and he came out going, rah, I need revenge. And I love it when this happens in wrestling. Bron still could have gone poop and smacked Stone, but he was too distracted by song. So Von, of course, has recovered to a certain degree thanks to his friendship with Robert Stone, and we're going to do this match next week because you had Von Wagner going, I want to fight him. And Rob was like, look, I don't think you should. You're basically dead. So Von Wagner went, no, I really want to fight him. And Stone went, all right, fine. I'll just go and make the match. And that was super easy. It was barely an inconvenience. So I'm still a little bit sad that we didn't do Goofy Wrestling for Life here. But now you see the payoff. You understand why we didn't. But I do like this. Well, I'm going to repeat myself. Brunbreaker should also be on the main roster. We then had this best video for Lyra Valkyria as we just put her across as a super duper megastar, which made all the sense in the world. She's just beaten Becky Lynch to become the NXT champion. We also had a big to camera promo from Scripps, who was all like, man, I used to be Reggie and now I'm this guy and that guy. Essentially, him and his team all hate the Brawling Brutes. So there's another feud. This is when Chelsea Green and Piper Niven's crazy week continued. They were on NXT, they were defending their tag team titles. They were also facing Jacy, Jayne and Thea Hale. I'll just give you a headline with this one. It was alright. Much like a lot of matches on this evening, as soon as the bell rang, they just ran at each other. And even though the good guys were in control, when we cut to the commercial and we came back, the champions were on top. Nobody told us why, so we'll have to make it up for ourselves. And I'm going to assume that Hale and Jacy had seen Piper Niven and Chelsea Green on Raw, so had thought to themselves, oh, we must be taking on the Hart Foundation come NXT. But then we got to Tuesday night, and they couldn't see Brett or Jim, so they started searching for them when Chelsea and Piper saw an opening and punched them in the face. That'll do. It all built to the Holy Tag to Jacy, who ran wild, if you can believe, until her and Chelsea came together with the big boots. But when she did come to, she was like, well, look, Andre Chase is on the outside. He's holding the tag team title. Give it to me, and I shall use it as a weapon. Chase was never going to let her do this because we've seen the story develop. This was the worst thing she could have done, because you know the deal. If you're a professional wrestler in the ring, and then you see something happening outside of the ring, you totally forget you are in a match. She turned around, I'm prettier, uno, dos, tres. So this finish, when it comes to WWE, is totally out of control. But I do believe this one gets a pass, because again, we have seen Jacy Jayne and Andre Chase fall out over this constantly, and now it's gone and cost her. So you just know it's going to ruin Chase U eventually, although fair play to Chelsea Green. That is 2 wins on the bounce, and before this, she quite literally lost all the time. But again, it was okay. This is when we got this great interview with Lexus King as he sat in his throne, and essentially he was like, oh man, you want me to make an impact, do you? Well, maybe I already have. Now I may be clutching at straws, but this led me to go, was he the guy that attacked Trick Williams? And did he do it on behalf of Carmelo Hayes? So I really like what we're doing with this character right now, and it's got me invested. That's all you ever need to do. I suppose we shall find out more next week. Which is when Lola Vice won the Women's Breakout Tournament. Cool. She was facing Kelani Jordan too, and really anybody would have been a fine winner here. And yes, look, you could tell they rehearsed this one a little bit more than the other matches, but isn't that a good thing? It was the final. You want to put your best foot forward, so they put in the time, they Put in the work. Jordan also tweaked her knee at one point, which was going to tie into the finish, because when she went for the split-legged moonsault, all of a sudden, Elektra Lopez was here, and she cast distraction right in her face. It meant when she did go for the move, she landed right on her knee, and she was like, oh no, my leg doesn't work, which is when she got booted right in the face. And yeah, Vice pinned her for the 1, 2, 3. She has won the tourney. So look, I am going to give this an up because as I keep on telling you, I love watching wrestlers progress in real time. I think it's cool, but I just mentioned this a few minutes ago. Not every single match in WWE should end in a distraction. Like, it's actually getting ridiculous to the point next time I get a clean win, I'm probably going to fall on the floor. So that does have to get it down. But bravo to these two. I hope they continue to smash it. Noam Dar, who was dressed as Scooby-Doo, then found his Heritage Cup. Just the best sentence I've ever said. Sadly for him, he was surrounded by ghouls and ghosts, and he tried to pay them off, which really made me chuckle. When eventually Tozawa turned up, he was like, look, I won't let them kill you if you do give me a match next week. So Noam was like, all right, let's do it. And then Tozawa still let them eat his face. So who the flub knows? If I was Noam Dar, I would now rescind the offer because he still got mugged off. But I love the fact we did all of this to build to a match. And again, the Tozawa train is rocking and rolling now. We are heading into the station. Give it enough. Fire and Dawn were then back, and honestly, they just spoke in riddles here, to the point I don't know what they were talking about, which is also when we got everything between Robert Stone and Von Wagner. When we got to our main event for the NXT title, Ilja Dragunov taking on Camilo Hayes. And this was flubbing excellent. But you had so many stories going on as well, because you had the fight, you had the world title, plus you had everything with Trick Williams, and you just knew that Baron Corbin was hanging about in the background. They went mad at the start too, because they were punching each other so hard, I think they forgot what wrestling was. When they fought onto the apron, Carmelo Hayes gave Ilja this DDT, and I thought he killed him. Hayes then hit the Splash of the Frogs for an early 1-2-ooh. Was like, come on now, this is really early on in the match, you ain't gonna change the title here. So they went back to the ring apron, and he smashed Carmelo with a DVD. This is when I realised, wait a minute, it's the hardest part of the ring. Then they went flying through Alan the announce table when Ilja did hit the H-bomb. Then they got back in the ring and they were doing other H-bombs into code breakers. Then Ilja Dragunov was coming for more H-bombs. And they just went back and forth with wrestling tennis. And it got me. I was like, there's no way they're going to change the championship here. But was I sure? No. Eventually Carmelo was able to use that code breaker to get back to the top rope when he was going to hit his finish. When we had more shenanigans from Shenanigans Central. Because Trick Williams' music hit and he was here too. And I love this because don't forget, it means he was in the back and he was talking to the audio guy going, wait a minute, I think Carmelo is going for his big move, press play now. Now he was Super Serious 9000 because he looked at Carmelo. When you do that in wrestling, it means you ain't playing around. Once again, it was the case of a wrestler being in the ring and a wrestler outside of the ring, totally making them forget what they were doing. And he got hit with the flying torpedo headbutt and Ilja Dragunov got the 1-2-3. So did Trick Williams just cost Carmelo Hayes the championship? Well, it seemed like that to me. Now, yes, it was ridiculous that WWE did this finish again, because they love it even more than I love my girlfriend. But we then had another cliffhanger, because Trick got in the ring, he picked up Carmelo Hayes, he looked pretty pissed off. Before we could see anything, we zoomed to the back, and Baron was here, and he was kicking the crap out of Dragunov. I mean, he also lifted up the title, so there is your next feud. So I actually thought this was a very, very good main event, because not only did we have a decent match, it was better than decent, but we also started planting the seeds for what is next. So am I giving it up? Well, the finger of power is pointed in that direction, so yes. Yes, I am. Which means Halloween Havoc 2023 has come to an end, and honestly, when you push these two nights together, I thought NXT did a very good job, which is basically what they have been doing for the last 6 months or so. Up. Now, please do leave a comment below and let me know what you thought about last night's Halloween Havoc. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for Raw, so you can just enjoy all the ups and downs. Follow us on social media, go to WhatCulture.com, and now relax. Until tomorrow, because we got to up those downs for AEW Dynamite. Because without wrestling, what the flub would we even be? Goodbye.